This podcast provides general information about the law, not specific legal advice. The licensed attorney speaking on this podcast cannot take the place of a competent private attorney who can provide proper legal advice only after hearing the specific facts of your case.
You're listening to Law and Caution, Protection Through Legal Education, brought to you by Legal Aid Center of Southern Nevada.
Hello, my name is Josh Lozano. I'm a law student at the William S. Boyd School of Law, and I'm here today with two attorneys from the Consumer Rights Project at the Legal Aid Center of Southern Nevada. First, I'd like to introduce Jason Fisher. He is the first attorney to lead the Clean Slate Legal Assistance Program here at Legal Aid Center of Southern Nevada, which helps provide a fresh start to those with a criminal record. He has spent several years with the Georgia Public Defender's Office, and in private practice, he worked in family law and criminal defense. How are you doing, Jason?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And then also today, gracious enough to join us is Haley Box. She is also part of the Clean Slate Legal Assistance Program and was a senior attorney at the Las Vegas office of Nevada Legal Services, where she handled cases in housing, consumer law, public benefits. Before becoming a senior attorney, Haley assisted in building the Rural Consumer Law Project, which helps serve 5 rural counties here in Southern Nevada. And she's also another Southerner. So we got 2 Southerners at once on the podcast. How are you doing?
I'm doing good today.
Don't you dare say Roll Tide.
Don't you say go Vols.
We'll keep it interesting. So today we're discussing sealing records, erasing the past, embracing a new beginning. First, we'll discuss what criminal record sealing is, who can seal their records, what's the process like, and some common misconceptions. In the description of the episode, you will find links for all the resources we mentioned, such as signups for the criminal record sealing classes held here at the Legal Aid Center every Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. You will also find timestamps so you can jump ahead to the topics you're looking for. All right, so we'll just get right into this. So as a general question for someone in the audience, they kind of know what record sealing is. Maybe they think of it the same as Expunged, or maybe it was different in their state. Can one of you two just give a general, what is Nevada record sealing?
So record sealing in Nevada is driven by statute. So it's a little bit different than expungement because there's a process that you have to go through in order to get your records sealed. And you do that through the court process, and depending upon where your charges were. And you will file a petition to seal those records. You go through the DA, you work with different courts to make sure that that the records are eligible, and then you file the paperwork, and then the judge signs off on it. So it's a little bit different than like having to ask for a pardon from the governor or like an expungement or something like that. It's a little bit more. I guess you could say it's a little more regimented and a little bit easier for people to navigate.
Another thing to know about sealing versus expungement is that, so in a state where you can get your record expunged, that means that the state actually essentially deletes your file. So expunge means make it go away. Here in Nevada, we don't offer expunging. We only do record sealing. And that is because under our statute, which Haley was just referencing, the code is NRS 179.245 is the main record sealing statute. And here in Nevada, we can't expunge your record because even our record sealing statute has exceptions. So here in Nevada, you can seal your record, and for all intents and purposes, nobody will ever be able to see your criminal history. However, there is an exception in the law specifically for the gaming industry. And it kind of makes sense if you think about it from a Las Vegas standpoint, right? The casino industry is so huge and there is so much money flowing through Las Vegas Boulevard that even after you seal your record here in Nevada, the law allows for the gaming commissioner to have an exception so that if you are applying for a job in the gaming industry, where you are required to hold a gaming license, then the law allows the gaming commissioner to approach the court, ask for permission to view your sealed record, ostensibly to determine if your criminal history is related to the gaming industry. So think fraud, theft, robbery.
Yeah, so that makes sense. So for those of you listening in the audience, a quick summary, what our two attorneys eloquently explained is that in Nevada, there's no expunging. It's just criminal record sealing. Basically, it means that it's not deleted, but it's deemed as if to never occurred. But there are exceptions. Like, for example, if you were going to go work on the Strip in some form of gaming capacity, you just got done watching casinos, or you got done watching live poker for all night and you wanted to apply, even if technically that was sealed, they could still pull it up because there's certain exceptions in Nevada.
There are also exceptions for immigration as well.
Mm.
And so if you have a current immigration case and you're applying for a green card or applying to be naturalized or something of that nature, you're going to have to provide your entire criminal record history. And you can't get it sealed and then not provide it to immigration. They'll just make you unseal it. Mm-hmm. So you should get a copy of your full criminal history before you embark upon getting your record sealed if you're involved in any immigration proceedings as well.
Before we get into the process, since we're kind of talking about who can and can't see it, one thing is when I was researching it, I saw some people kind of confused. So they were saying, okay, well, if they can pull it up, how does that work counting towards like a second offense, something like that? Would that count, or how would that work?
So there is another exception specifically for the court and the district attorney, and it is specifically in the circumstance that you described. So can the court just, say that you're in family court and you're going through a divorce, and your spouse is just dragging you through the mud in front of the family court, and they're telling the court all the dirt that you did in your previous life. The family court judge cannot go back and look into your criminal record to determine if your spouse is telling the truth or not. The exception for the court says specifically if it is for people who are facing current criminal prosecution. So somebody tonight is out, they've had too much to drink, they get pulled over. The police accuse them of DUI. 90 days from now, they go to court for their hearing. The district attorney has the ability to inquire with the court for permission to review the person's criminal history, including sealed matters, for the purposes of enhancing punishment. So if you sealed 2 DUIs that you got 25 years ago, and you go out and pick up a DUI tonight, the DA has the ability to go back and look into your sealed history and enhance. So on your 3rd DUI, that qualifies you for felony treatment. So, but it's not just the courts always have the ability to know. That requires you to put yourself in a position where that history is now relevant for aggravating and enhancement.
And that's why it's really important to, understand we're providing general legal information. You should always consult a real attorney to share your specific facts. So then that way you're not, those, I was listening to that podcast and they told me this, but so there are a lot of exceptions to it.
When I did confess to being a public defender, so I suppose, yes, you want to talk to a real lawyer.
Yeah, well, you do. I mean, you want to talk to an attorney that can view your case on a case by case basis, because every record sealing case is extremely unique, and so there is a lot of factors to take into consideration. And just listening to a podcast, while informative, it doesn't really take the place of that lawyer who is actively like viewing your record and being able to say, okay, yes, like this is eligible for seal, or oh no, you probably shouldn't seal because you have an immigration case, or you have a current DUI and you're in current criminal proceedings, like whatever. So it does not take the place of that like live look at your record.
Yeah, it wouldn't. We went over some broad aspects of record sealing, misconceptions, very broad. So let's get a little bit more specific now. Who can seal their records, and basically what's the process like? Well,
pretty much anyone can get their records sealed if they have eligible like criminal history. And so there's not, you should be, and we can only seal Nevada records, so that it can, if you have charges in Texas or you have charges in Florida, we can't do anything about those. It's only Nevada specific charges. And so if you come in and you meet the qualifications of the statute, you've waited the requisite, wait period for the charges that you have, then you can apply for your criminal record to be sealed. And there are lots of steps to do that, but there isn't really a limit on like who can do it, or like really the only exception would be like if you are in the middle of immigration proceedings, like you should probably maybe make sure that you don't need a copy of that criminal history before you seal it, because you're going to have to go back and go through the process of getting it unsealed, which is a pain in the rear. So
to add to what Haley just said, it's almost easier to tell you who cannot seal than who can seal. So here in Nevada, the law specifically excludes large classes of crime. Like, so all sex offenses are non-sealable. There's another category called crimes against children. And that can be confusing it's confusing for a lawyer and for lay people.
Yeah.
It's definitely, you have to go into the statute, and because just saying crimes against children, that makes people think any crime against a child would be unsealable. And that is not true. Right. Like there are certain crimes against children that are sealable, and you just have to go into NRS 179D.0357. That's where you're going to see, the list of crimes against children that are not sealable.
And then we'll also have links in the description below, so then that way you don't feel you have to jot down notes and to see what is not eligible.
But I do tell people that when we're talking about crimes against children, so specifically what we're not talking about is a charge that is very common is child abuse and neglect. That child abuse in itself makes it sound like it is a crime against the child, but that is not what the statute is talking about. When we say crimes against children, you really should think more in terms of sex offenses, trafficking,
exploitation, molestation, those types of cases.
Non-custodial kidnapping. So if a parent kidnaps a child, we can seal that. But if you kidnap somebody else's child, you're stuck with that conviction.
So
I think false imprisonment is one as well, isn't it?
I think so. That's up there with like the forced labor.
Yeah, the non-custodial part of it. Yeah.
So if you and your spouse were having an argument and you kidnap your kid to Disneyland, California, even though you weren't supposed to leave the state, the possibility of being sealed. But if you kidnap your neighbor's kid and go to Disneyland, no sealing.
Exactly.
Exactly. Definitely. There is definitely a difference.
Yeah, there's a difference. So just for those in the audience.
And just to be a little wonky, people hear the term child abuse and neglect, and they think of, and look, that encompasses a lot, but I will let you know that like the primary way that allegation comes about is in a domestic context. Mom and dad they're throwing down in the kitchen, and the children are in the living room. It's essentially in a situation where there is domestic violence in the house and there's a child under the same roof. That is child abuse and neglect. Having your, you fall asleep on the couch, your 4-year-old manages to get out the sliding glass door, and they're found at the playground with no supervision. That's when you're going to get charged with that. And like I said, that's something that it's uncomfortable, but it is something that a lot of people find themselves in the position of having that on their record. And so I don't want them to think that that's a no-go.
Also, and this happens, even like you should never leave your child in the car, but that is also one. Like even in the wintertime, like the police will charge you with child abuse and neglect if you leave your child in the car unattended. And that one is another one of those situations that people find themselves in more often than not when you're exhausted, your child is asleep in the back seat, and you're like, I'm just going to run in really quick and like grab some groceries. And then you find yourself on the end of a criminal complaint.
To wrap up the unsealables is things like felony DUI, DUI with substantial bodily harm or death. home invasion with a weapon. So those are things that are never eligible.
Mm-hmm.
I joke with people that, surprisingly, some things that you would think would be on the list are not on the list. So, for instance, homicide, second-degree murder, technically malice murder is not on the excluded list. Now, it would require you to do a life sentence, get paroled, and then be on good behavior for 10 years. So you might be 95 years old.
But it's a 10-year seal, so.
It's up there with the fertile octogenarian in terms of legal principles that exist, but don't ever actually happen.
You'll go to jail forever, but you could potentially get your record sealed.
Oh, man. All right. Well, thank you for that. I think that'll help. And like I said, for the listeners, we will have a link in the description to the statute, to the things that are ineligible, and certain things like Category A burglary, how they take like 10 years, Category B, C, or D felonies take 5 years, and so on and so forth. I think what we'll do is we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to ask the attorneys a couple of common misconception questions where they're going to take a crack at it. And then after that, we will continue and wrap up. So thank you.
Navigating family life matters on your own can be a challenge. The Family Law Self-Help Center is here to help. Located at the Family Courts and Services Center on Pecos and Bonanza, we are open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We are here to offer free, comprehensive legal information regarding procedures and documents. We can provide pre-fillable forms to help simplify your process. Remember, while we can provide referrals and legal information, we can never provide legal advice. You should always consult a licensed attorney who can give you assistance tailored to the specific facts of your situation. Our mission is to increase informed access to the legal system, regardless of income, assets, or citizenship. Visit www.familylawselfhelpcenter.org for more information.
All right, so now we're back. Thank you guys for tuning in. What we're going to do is we're going to do the Truth Gameshow segment real quick, where we're going to ask these attorneys a couple questions, and then afterwards wrap up the rest of the episode.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
I feel comfortable using legal jargon in everyday life.
Your Honor, I'd like to ask for a recess.
No, the defense is wrong.
All right, so in Nevada, this is for both of you. If I had a criminal record and I got it sealed, does that restore my rights to own a firearm?
No.
No, it does your voting.
Correct. If you had a previous criminal record, even if it was sealed, you still cannot own a firearm. Okay, that was actually my second question was, if you got your record sealed, can you vote? So you get bonus points for answering that. You can vote. So that's something that you could get back. Okay, is criminal record sealing in Nevada, is it expensive?
No, it's not expensive.
So what is around the average cost you would say to go through it? So I have an estimate here.
The fingerprinting fee, which is $27.50, and then you have to pay the filing fee, which is $230 something.
I don't pay it. So
the legal aid pays for that. So
so if you're eligible, come down to legal aid is what they're saying.
Yeah. It's in the 200s, I believe, is the filing fee for the petition itself.
Yeah, I do want to say if you were going to do it, let's say you were going to do it yourself, so you take the class that NLS and Boyd Law School partner to teach on every Friday morning. I think if you were to go through it by yourself and you had to do a district court petition, I think you'd be looking at about $400. Feels like it's about right.
Mm-hmm. And the nice thing is, record sealing you can always consult a attorney to get help with. But would you two say that if a person did the research and followed the resources, could they just go through the record sealing process themselves and then just pay the cost?
Absolutely. If you have to, you have to follow the steps, but I feel like that it is something you can do on your own with no issue as long as you follow the process.
Mm-hmm. So as the former public defender, I think I might add a qualification onto that if you are that person who has the one DUI at 22 years old, or if you have less than 5 cases, then maybe. if you are somebody who legitimately spent some time being about them streets, as they say, then you probably are going to need a lawyer, because the volume is what is driving that. And so like locating one case from when you were in college, that you might be able to do that. But figuring out everything.
68 cases?
Right now, our current record is 133.
Oh, I'm impressed. 68 is mine.
Whoa.
Personal soapbox. This is not for legal aid. I do not speak for Barbara Buckley or anybody in this building. But I will tell you, as somebody who does intakes with clients, we have people who come, and if you don't know, Legal Aid Center we are an indigent legal services provider, so we're kind of like the public defender. I can only represent people who otherwise could not afford to pay an attorney. I will meet somebody who is just outside of that category. So they don't quite qualify for our free pro bono program. But when we tell them that they're going to have to go hire an attorney, people will start freaking out, because they'll be like, I've already been to 3 people and this guy wants $5,000. Again, I don't speak for Legal Aid or Barbara Buckley or Haley Box or Josh, but to the attorneys in Clark County, if you are charging somebody $5,000 for this,
it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yes, you are the people who give attorneys bad names.
Yeah,
I've done 150 petitions at this point, and none of them. I mean, the one guy with 135 cases, like that might have taken me 4 hours to put together. But generally, an attorney, a licensed attorney who knows what they're doing and understands the process, would not spend any more than 3 hours on this case.
This is very heavily form-based.
This is something that attorneys should be doing for. What I tell my clients is like, so $1,000 is a lawyer that wants to be like me, meaning that they're out there in the world, but they're doing it for the people, and so they are not living so they're not living in the same neighborhood as the Raiders. Okay, but
different tax brackets.
Right.
Yeah.
So $1,000, if that's somebody who's really willing to do it for cost, I think $1,500 is a fair price. I think anything over $2,500 and you're just gouging people.
So keep that in mind if you're an audience member and you aren't eligible for legal aid and you feel like you wouldn't want to go through this yourself, because like you said, what Jason was saying, you're not the 21-year-old with the one DUI. Maybe you have a lot of cases to handle. If you're going to look for attorneys, keep that in mind. But something that I did want to talk about is you two were discussing on the break how you can't necessarily a la carte these seals. It's either all or nothing. You couldn't seal one case and then leave another one open. Was that correct?
That is correct. So you have to seal everything. And the reason, so that is another reason why Jason probably mentioned that if you have a whole lot of charges, you may want to, hire an attorney to help you find everything, because the DA will continue to send it back and they will not agree to seal if they are seeing other charges that you've left off of your petition. And so everything has to be ready to be sealed as well. If you have a DUI that you got, a misdemeanor DUI with a 7-year seal, and all of your other charges are ready, but maybe you're like 6 months from your DUI, you have to wait. You have to wait the 6 months and make sure that all your charges are ripe for seal.
Right. Yeah. We'll have people come in and we'll say, we're sorry, you're not eligible because you're still on probation for a domestic or for a misdemeanor assault from last year. But I don't care about that. I just want to, I want to seal my drug possession case from 10 years ago. And it's like, well, that's not how it works.
And that brings up a good point, I think, is that it is not, the wait times are not from when you did the crime. It is from the completion of all requirements. So if you are on 5 years of probation, it is like, let's just say that it is a 5-year seal, and you have 5 years of probation. Well, then after you complete your probation, you have to wait 5 years from the date of your honorable discharge from probation. So, or the 5 years from the date that you paid your fine, or 5 years from the date that you completed your jail time. So it is not 5 years from when the crime happened. It is 5 years from the completion of all requirements.
You two wanted to talk about enhancements?
Yeah, so there are a few different types of charges that have what we call enhancements. And so, like, for example, one of them is a misdemeanor DUI. Most misdemeanors, just regular misdemeanors, have a year seal. So from a year from the completion of all requirements. However, misdemeanor DUIs have a 7-year wait time. And I believe that is a public policy choice. And so you have to wait a lot longer for that type of misdemeanor. And the same thing for, for example, a misdemeanor battery is going to be a year. And some gross misdemeanors are 2 years. But if you have domestic violence involved in the battery charge, then it's a 7-year seal as well. That domestic violence enhances that misdemeanor from either a 1 or a 2 year seal to a 7.
Yeah, another thing that people don't realize is that, yes, it is a misdemeanor, but if it's domestic violence or DUI, those are 7 years. Burglary kind of falls into the same category, because if you are convicted of burglary is a B felony. Most B felonies are 5-year wait time, but burglary, again, as one of those enhancements, they added on the 10 years. So they make burglary 10 years, even though it's a B felony.
Okay. So yeah, it's like, little, for the audience, think of these charges as almost Lego bricks, and then they can click together, and then the eligibility will change because of it. But other than that, is there anything else that you two wanted to add? A record sealing is there's a lot of great things to talk about. We might end up having to do more episodes about this, because it feels like we just can't cover everything in such a short one. But for this general record sealing episode, was there anything that you just wanted to let the audience know before we go?
Real quickly, I will just say that if you are listening to us and you fall into that category of person who has a record and you would like to have it sealed, it's holding you back, and you think you might qualify for legal aid services, we take walk-ins from 9 to 4 Monday through Thursday. We do not make appointments to come apply, but you can visit our website at lacsn.org. And if you are or if you want to inquire, you can send an email to recordsealing@lacsn.org, and that will come to me.
And those links will be included in the description below.
And I like to give a shout out as well, because I work for the Legal Service Fund as my department, and we represent culinary and bartenders union members, and we have no income requirements. So if you are a culinary or a bartender union member and you have a criminal record that you would like to get sealed, you need to come and see me, because we will definitely help you with that. And there's 60,000 of you out there and your families, so please come and see us, and we'll do what we can to get your record sealed. And you can call us at our hotline number that's specific for culinary union members is 702-386-1550.
And last, we did not address this class of client, but legal aid is we're a community partner in serving women and children who have been victimized by violence. And if you are somebody who has been victimized in that way, if you are a survivor of human trafficking or sex trafficking, and while you were being trafficked, your abusers forced you to commit criminal offenses, there's another section of record sealing that legal aid can help you go through, where a lot of these wait times and these restrictions that Haley and I have been talking about do not apply. And
a lot of the filing fees
all of the costs are waived. So if you find yourself in that position, again, please reach out to legal aid. We have a staff, a whole team of lawyers and advocates who are here to help.
Yeah. So thank you two for the time. All the links will be in the description. And for the audience, please understand that record sealing is there to help you get a fresh start so you could move on. And make sure to heed the advice of these two attorneys. And if you think you're eligible, pop on the website and drop us a visit.
Thank you for listening to Law and Caution, Protection Through Legal Education. Links to helpful resources can be found in the description. Have a great day!